This is episode 80 of The Variety Artist. This is John Abrams, your host and that guy that interviews successful variety artists from around the world. This interview blew my mind. Claude Haggerty tells a couple of great stories, but then he reveals the secrets of creating sponsorships where everybody wins. Everybody. It's a very different way of thinking about marketing. If you're contacted or approaching a potential customer or client, do you think you'd get a better response if they had to pay you for performing or if you paid them? It really is fascinating. This interview could literally change the way you do business. Enjoy!
Fun fact number 787. John is a purple belt in Taekwondo.
Welcome to The Variety Artist, providing aspiring artists and entertainers with in-depth discussions from top performers from all over the world. So get ready to book some gigs, make some money, and have some fun with your host, John Abrams.
Usually I do a big intro for my guest, but this week I thought I'd let some of his students do the talking. Tim Fox says, started coaching me 2 years ago and totally changed the way I do business. Don't miss this podcast. Mark Irish says, if I was told that I could only choose one course to use in my entertainment career, it would be the Claude Haggerty sponsorship course. Brian Glow says, I thought after 5 decades of touring, I knew about sponsorship, but Claude is the undisputed master. Brock Edwards says, Claude is the real deal. Variety artist, I give you Claude Haggerty.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much for having me. I look forward to a great conversation with you today.
Me too. I'm excited. After reading all those reviews, I'm excited about talking about it to you.
Well, the thing is that we all learn from each other, and I think that entertainers of all kinds need to stick together. We all have strength. We all have weaknesses. We're all on the same mission to feed our families and serve those we serve. So I believe if we help each other, then we all move forward.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into the sponsorship, what kind of entertainment did you do before?
John, I toured as an illusionist from 1980 up until 2016. I actually grew up in foster care. I stuttered most of my life. And at recess time, I would run to the library to read magic books to kind of stay off the playground for obvious reasons. But I would always gravitate towards the magic books. And one day I went to my principal and I would say, pick a card. And he was very patient with me. And one day he said, that was the best trick he ever did. Go out in the schoolyard and show those boys right there. I'm like, those are the guys who beat me up every day. And he said, I'll make sure you're safe. So I put my big boy pants on. I go out and do the simple card trick. I come back in. My principal said, I'm very proud of you. I go back to class. The next day, he come to the classroom, ask if I could be excused. I go into the hallway. He tells me there's a big magic show coming to a nearby city. All the entertainers from Europe are coming on a big world tour. He bought 5 tickets to the show, but there's only 4 people in his family. So he had a random draw. And from the 800 students at the school, I would win this lucky magic ticket, and I got to go.
Oh, nice.
And I told my principal, this is what I'm going to do one day. And he said, yes, you are.
And you did.
And I did. I went on to create a grand scale illusion show with lions, tigers, cougars, jaguars, was able to perform at some of the biggest venues in our country. And John, let me tell you one. I'd like to tell you 2 real funny stories here.
Please.
I remember when I booked my first shopping mall, and it was about 15 minutes from my house. And this is back in the 70s. I was like 16, 17 years of age. And I was walking through the shopping mall, and I seen a little stage. It was set up for a fashion show. And I thought, this would be groovy to do a magic show here. So I called the mall, made an appointment. A couple of days later, I had to go see with the promotion manager of the shopping mall. So I walk in, and I'm really prepared, right? So I have in my shirt pocket, I have 2 Polaroid photographs in my shirt pocket. You know, the old Polaroid. One was me with a deck of cards and a fan.
Okay.
And one is with me with a dove on my finger. Okay.
Okay.
So I go in, and this guy comes out. He's running a multi-million-dollar shopping mall. He's all in a suit and tie. Here I am, 16, 17 years old. So I go in, tell him that I saw the stage, thought it'd be cool to bring in a magic show, do something on a Saturday maybe, do a couple shows. And so he says, well, you got anything to show me? So I take out these 2 little Polaroid pictures, and I show him, there you go, there you go. And he's like, wow, looks like you're a magician, all right. Holy crap, man. Holy crap. So then he says, what would it cost me to get all these goodies, to get you with your cards and you with your bird here? Like, what would this cost me, right? I swear to God, right? And I am so nervous and I stutter so bad. So I thought back then I would do a half hour and a second half hour that I would ask for $100. Okay. Oh, I know. But this was like, again, this was 1970 something. So even, that was pretty good money, but I was going to ask for $100. So I showed him the pictures with these two little Polaroid pictures, and he said, so what's this going to cost? And I said, I will do it for $400.
Okay.
And he looks at me. He said, I'll tell you what, deal. I'll give you $200 now and $200 when you do the show. I'm like, oh my God, stuttering pays, right? Because I was going to ask for $100, but I couldn't get it. I was doing it for 400. And they said, okay, I'll give you. So I went down to the local magic shop in Toronto, and I bought $200 for the magic stuff so I could justify charging the man $400. 2 years later, by the way, I opened the largest shopping mall in the world, by the way, which completely changed my life. But that's how it started. And I want to tell you one more funny story.
Please. I like that one, by the way. That was fun.
One day, we were going to do, so not only did our Lions, Tigers, Cougars, Jaguars, I had a theater in Niagara Falls where we're going to do the Elephant Vanish.
Okay.
And we had a really neat thing set up where we already started selling tickets on this, where we would reach out to all these different organizations, and you would buy we would send a bus, and you would fill up the bus full of 30 or 40 people. They would pay like $25 a ticket. They would come. We would give you front row seats in our theater. And when we did the Elephant Vanish, your nonprofit group would come on stage, join hands around the elephant as it disappeared. Which is a kind of neat catch, right?
Yep.
And then what we would do is all the groups that participated, we would put their name in a hat. At the last show we did, we'd have the mayor of Niagara Falls would actually visit our show, pull out one ballot, and then we would go to their city and we would do an arena show for the charity of their choice, absolutely free charge. So I was looking to lease an elephant.
You're just calling around. Excuse me. Can I get an elephant to lease, please?
Yeah, so I looked under the elephant leasing in the yellow pages, couldn't find anything there. We didn't have the Google and all that back then. This was 1993. So I found out there was a zoo about 8 hours north of Montreal, way up north, way up north. And this was February. And so up in northern Quebec, there was a zoo up there that had an elephant it was looking to sell. So, wow, an elephant is $180,000 US, by the way.
Yeah.
So I made the 12 or 13-hour trip in the wintertime. It was blizzard conditions, all ice. I drove all night long. I get there at maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. I go in, and the zoo's closed because it's wintertime, and it's like, 20 below zero kind of thing. So I go in, meet with the director of the zoo, and the director says, Mr. Haggerty, I want to show you the elephant we have in mind. But right now I have to do a quick phone call. I'm going to be like 10, 15 minutes. She said, but if you want to kind of walk through the zoo, through the back area, just kind of follow the yellow line, and it'll take you all through the different areas because all the animals are inside because it's 40 below zero outside, right? So I said, yeah, I'll do that. No problem. And I've been driving all night anyways. I don't really want to sit here, so I'll go down there.
Sure.
So I walked through the zoo. And she kind of gave me a little map where the elephants were. So I kind of walk in. I see some of the, the cats, and I see some of the different animals. And all of a sudden, there was a gorilla in a big cage.
Yeah.
And he was just sitting there, and he waves at me. So I look around, like there's nobody here. So I wave back at him, hi. Yeah. And he kind of made a bit of a fuss. So then he moved a little step closer, and he kind of like blew me a kiss. Okay. So I thought that was pretty cool. So he did it again. I did it back to him. Oh, when I did it back to him, he ran around, did cartwheels. He thought that was awesome. So then he moves like a foot closer. There's a glass separating us. So he motions for me to take a step forward. He takes a step forward. We're still maybe 8 feet apart. He blows me a kiss. I blow him a kiss back. He makes a fuss. He takes another step forward, motions for me to come forward. I take another step. He blows me a kiss. I blow him a kiss back. So we were coming like he's like 10 feet tall. He probably weighed, 1,000 pounds or more, way bigger than me. He puts his lips right against the glass, and he motions for me with his finger, and I'm like 6 inches away. He's motioning for me to come a little closer, little closer, little closer. I'm looking around. Hopefully nobody's watching me, right? So I put my face against that glass. As soon as I put my face against that glass, he punched that glass so friggin' hard. I thought he broke my friggin' nose. Man, did it hurt. It didn't break the glass. It was plexiglass, but he just pounded that so hard. My nose swelled right up. I thought, oh my God, he broke my nose. So I called him every name in the book. Do not use the F word. Yeah. So I went down. So I went down to where the elephants were, and I'm holding my nose. I'm trying to find a mirror to see if I'm bleeding, or because I know it's already getting swollen up there. It's already starting to swell, and I'm like, oh my God, I think it's broken. I touched it. It was really sensitive. So I get there, and about 3 minutes later, in comes the zoo director, and she's looking at me. I got my hands on my nose. I'm like, oh, she said, Mr. Haggerty, are you all right? And she looks at me, and she has this look on her face. She says, please to God tell me that you did not put your face against that glass. Who, me? She said, I am so sorry. She said, you didn't put your face against that glass, did you? And I said, yeah. She said, I am so sorry. I forgot that he was in here. She said, he gets everybody. I said, I think he broke my friggin' nose. She said, he gets everybody. But you never know, right?
If you've learned anything from this podcast, never kiss a gorilla. All right, let's get into this sponsorship thing. Maybe you can tell me, Claude, about your successes and maybe some strategies.
Well, there's a couple of things I like to talk about that are the importance of sponsorships. And if I may.
Sure.
I was able to go into 8,000 elementary schools, all free of charge, thanks to sponsors, to share my story of not giving up, of believing in yourself, of using that library to stay focused on your dreams and goals, and talk about bullying from a first point of view, because I went through that, and to encourage principals and teachers to use their influence to inspire children over and above teaching and being the principal. Like, my principal buys me a $10 magic ticket, and I raise $5 million for charity afterwards.
Wow. That's a nice investment. $10 for $5 million.
Up until 2016, I toured coast to coast because I had to, along the way, I got great knowledge in sponsorships because I was touring with such a big show that my clients could not afford to pay for me. Mm-hmm. Because I had lions, tigers, cougars, jaguars. I had 10 or 12 staff. So we needed $5,000 or $10,000 just to get booked.
Right.
And many of the fairs and festivals and corporate events could not pay. They were nervous to put out that kind of an outlay, even though they knew we would be a big drawing card, but they were afraid to take that financial risk.
Sure.
So out of necessity, I started thinking about sponsorships. And I'll tell you just the kind of impact that this would have. For example, I remember meeting with a fair back in around 1995, I think it was 1996. They were looking for an entertainer who could do 2 or 3 shows on Saturday, 2 or 3 shows on Sunday, and most fairs would pay about $5,000 for something like that for, if you had a bigger show. So I go there, I drive 4 hours to meet with them because we didn't have Zoom and Skype and all that kind of stuff back then. Right. So I drive 4 hours. I go in, I meet with the board of directors. They have about 20 people in their group, and they are going to determine that day. They're going through all the packages, and they're going to determine which acts are going to book and which acts are not going to book. Mm-hmm. So they allowed me the opportunity to come in and speak with them for 10 or 15 minutes. So I go in and meet with them for 15 minutes. This is who I am. This is what I do. And this is what it cost. And they're like, well, thanks for coming. We don't have nowhere near $5,000. So they voted. I said, well, before you vote, I said, just go into the community and get some sponsorships. Mm-hmm. They said, we've already exhausted that route. We've already went out. We've already talked to all the business owners. Those who were going to donate, donated. Those who were not, didn't. There's 20 of us. We all picked 20, 30 businesses each. So all 500 businesses in this city have already been contacted. So that has already been ruled out. We've already got all the sponsors we could get. So they put it to a vote. They voted 20-0 to decline my offer. Okay. So I walk back outside. I go to my car, think of now I got to drive 4 hours home. And just as I looked across the street, there were 3 little mom and pop businesses, just small little businesses, but one of them was called King Kong Video.
Okay.
So I walk over, introduce myself to the owner, Dave Hujaboom, talked to him for a few minutes, told him that I was hoping to perform at the fair. We kind of needed some champions to partner with us, and what could I work out with him to help me so I could help him and we could help the fair.
Yeah.
So I talked to him for 15 minutes, and he writes me a check for $2,000 as a sponsorship.
Nice.
So I thought, wow, I've been gone. I look at my watch, I've been gone 17 minutes already. So I run across the street because I knew the meeting was still in progress. And I kind of was like, Columbo, pardon me, excuse me, one more thing, right?
Yeah.
I know you're still in session, and you've already voted like 20-0. So what even a close vote, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, pardon me, excuse me. And again, I'm stuttering like crazy, right? So I go in.
So you're in there, you're stuttering, and
Oh my God.
and they just turned you down, and
Oh yeah.
the whole thing.
So John, so I walk into the president and I lay down the check, and he looks at this and he said, "What's this?" And I said, "It's a $2,000 sponsor check." And he said, "What do you mean it's a $2,000 sponsor check?" I said, "Well, we were talking about sponsorships, 20 minutes ago, and you folks had mentioned that you'd already approached all the local businesses. So I thought, well, why not take a stab at it? I'm here anyways, and I'm going to drive 4 hours home." So I simply approached the first business I could see when I walked out the door in a straight line. 50 yards ahead was King Kong Video. And we had a little chat, and he wrote me a check for $2,000 should you decide to reconsider my offer. Right? If not, I'll just take this back, go across the street, we'll rip this up, and no harm done.
Yep.
And by the way, I feel very confident that if we had a couple hours or a day, I could go get the rest of the money. Obviously it's available. There was $2,000 the first person I asked.
Yeah, in less than 20 minutes.
That's right, in less than 20 minutes. So one of the gentlemen stood up and he said, "This doesn't make sense." He said, "I went there 2 weeks ago." He said, "I know Dave personally. He's a good friend of mine. And I went there personally and let them know that we were looking for a sponsorship donation, and he gave us $50.
Okay.
And I just looked at them and I said, "Now, you didn't ask him the way I asked him, now, did you?" The president said, "Looks like we're booking this guy." So they voted 20-0 to accept my proposal.
Nice.
So that is kind of the power of sponsorships. This gentleman sponsored me. The second year, he sponsored us for $5,000. The third year, he sponsored us for $5,000 plus he spent 3 or 4 more thousand to bring in a large tent so our show could be covered from the elements. That was around 1990, in the late 90s. In the year 2000, he opened up a major, he sold his video stores because the video was kind of on its way out. He opened up a very large campground, and we went in, we did a big show with all the cats, all the pyro, and all the lighting effects for his grand opening, and we didn't charge him a cent, saying, "Thank you very much for believing in me back when you did, because you didn't have to." And we did his grand opening. And to this day forward, I camp at his campground all the time at no charge.
Oh, that's great.
A couple of years ago, I had a big birthday party here at my home, which he attended. And we've been good friends ever since. That relationship has probably generated, say, $50,000 for me in sponsorships and different opportunities. And it was simply because I walked across the street.
Well, how is your methodology different than the people that turned you down?
Number one is very important that you do not prejudge, because so many times those of us who are in, you could say sales, and I say sales in quotation mark because this is definitely not selling, but we talk ourselves out of approaching someone about an opportunity. We think, oh, they wouldn't be interested, or they can't afford it, or they're too big for me, or I'm too big for them, or you start putting ideas in your head of why they would not be interested. And there's 3 things that I say to myself before every sponsor presentation. And I say these 3 things religiously.
And what are they?
I will not prejudge, I will not prejudge, and I will not prejudge. Simply go and ask the question. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is who I'm trying to help. And there's some ways that maybe I can help you in return. That's it. If you say yes, you say yes. If you say no, you say no, and I move on. Yeah. But do not prejudge. John, I cannot tell you how many times where I've stood outside of a building And I second guess whether I should go in there and talk to them or make the call or make the contact.
I'll bet you that's the biggest fear of most people is entering that room and going in and talking to somebody.
And not only is it important that we don't prejudge, that we don't prejudge the opportunity, it's also very important that we don't give an opportunity for those we're trying to serve to prejudge us before we get there either. There's certain words that I try to avoid. I try to avoid the F word.
Yep.
And I try to avoid the S word.
Okay.
Because they have very negative connotations many times, when you use the F word and the S word.
Yep.
And it all comes down to prejudging. So when I say the F word, fundraising.
Okay. Yeah.
You think, oh, this guy's doing a fundraising. He wants us to sell tickets. He wants us to do this. And they already start assuming why you're coming.
Well, they also start thinking donation. Okay, I'm going to give you a bunch of money and I'm not going to get anything back from it.
That's exactly it, right? Is the D word is the donations, right? So when you call someone, they're going in and saying, hey, I want to talk to you about a sponsorship donation. They look at it as, I'm going to give you a check and you're going to give me nothing in return.
Right.
You're going to give me a receipt. So I'm donating money to you. I get nothing in return. So it took me a long time into this before I actually come up with wording or sayings that would allow me to get the appointment or get them to sit down with me without them prejudging. So rather than saying sponsors or donations or fundraising, I simply call it a win-win community cross-promotion.
Okay.
So I walked across the street. Hey, Dave, you own a video store? I'd like to talk to you today about a possible win-win-win community cross-promotion where your business will win, the fair is going to win, some local schools are going to win, this cause is going to win, and I'm going to win.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Oh, and by the way, and I might even mention this to you, and by the way, just so you understand, I'm not coming there asking you for a donation. Wow. So it's a community cross-promotion. Well, it's pretty hard for you to decide or prejudge what is a community cross-promotion. Right?
Right.
That's one of the things that I do. The second thing I always like to do is to what I call off the hook, to let them know that there's an easy way out for them and that I'm coming there with no pressure because I am 100%. You talk to any of my students and I am 100% the no pressure guy. I don't believe in sales closings and I am the no pressure guy.
Okay.
So one of the ways that I like to initiate my sponsor meetings, let's say I was doing an event in Anaheim Hills. I think you're from Anaheim Hills in California, right?
Anaheim Hills, Yorba Linda. Yep.
Yeah. So let's say I was doing something in your area, John, and I was working with a local nonprofit group. And let's say you're a real estate agent.
Okay.
What I like to do is this: say, John, it's Claude. Obviously, I know you because you sold me my home, or we're connected somehow. Putting together a community cross promotion that's going to benefit the local firefighters. It's going to benefit the 3 or 4 local schools. It's going to benefit the food bank. And by the way, this unique community cross promotion is going to benefit one local realtor in this unique community cross promotion. And since I am going to involve one realtor, this is going to happen. Since I am going to involve one realtor, and since I already know you, I already like you, I already trust you, we've already done business before, I'd like to give you the first opportunity to look at this win-win community cross promotion. If what I say makes sense, we can talk further. If not, no harm done. I simply open it up and offer it to the first come, first served realtor in the community. But since we have done business before, I'd like to give you the first opportunity to have a look at this. Wow.
I'm in.
Why would you not, right? Because there's no pressure.
Yeah, I certainly want to hear what you would have to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way that I would approach initial sponsorships. See, what happens, sponsorships gives you an amazing opportunity as well to not only get the bookings, but it helps you to help who you're serving beyond any way that you could have before. And I'll give you another example. Let's use the fairs as an example. Fairs, festivals, corporate gigs, anything like that. I always like to give whoever I'm presenting 2 options. There's option A and option B. And option A is always exactly what they want. For example, let's say I'm approaching a fair and they're looking for an entertainer. They're looking for 3 shows on Saturday. They're looking for 3 shows on Sunday, and they have a $5,000 budget. So all the entertainers, they all send all their packages, and they all trying to seduce the fair. They come in at $4,900. Some are bidding $4,500. Some are bidding $4,250. Some are going $2,500. Right. But they're all trying to stay under that magic number because nobody has the cojones, pardon my French, but they don't have the cojones to say, hey, I want $8,000. I know your budget's $5,000, right? So they all try to stay within that magic number. So what I like to do when I'm presenting to these organizations, say, okay, we have 2 payment plans. We have 2 options. Option A, I'll do 3 shows on a Saturday, 3 shows on a Sunday. It costs $5,000, exactly what you're looking for. But let me ask you a couple quick questions. And just thinking out loud with you folks. What if I could do a publicity stunt about a week before the fair? Maybe do a blindfold drive, or upside down straitjacket escape, or levitation downtown, or some promotional stunt to encourage people to check out me at the fair. Yeah. What if I could go into, let's say, 4 or 5 local elementary schools? And what if I could go in there absolutely free of charge? And I'll talk to the students about dreams, goals, believe it in yourself, the importance of reading or bullying or whatever my message may be. And what if I can invite all those children to bring their parents to the fairground, and make sure you check out my stage, because I'm going to give them a free downloadable magic trick that they could do at home as soon as they arrive at my stage. And that's all sponsored, by the way. And I tell the fair, and what if I did a big publicity stunt at the end of the fair? And what if I take your $5,000 for the 6 shows the way you want, but all those extras, what if I could get all those sponsored for you at no additional charge to you whatsoever? I'll just have sponsors take care of all the extras. Should you pick my show?
Well, now you're offering them so much value, they have no choice but to say yes.
It's 100%. It's irresistible. It would be financially irresponsible not to accept that opportunity. It would be financially, it would. That's why it's irresistible, right? There's no pressure here. I can gladly come in and do the 6 shows for your $5,000. There's no pressure. And I literally mean that. There's no pressure. Now, with all the extras, if you want to write me a check for another $4,000 or $5,000 just to go do that, that's okay too. I have no problem with that. But if you're kind of short on cash and you really could see why these extra things would really benefit the fair, then I can help you do that through sponsorships. By the way, I will thank the sponsors at the event. They're like, by all means, they never pick plan A. And same thing with schools. I've done 8,000 schools. And I see all these people on the forums about getting schools. I offer the schools, I have 2 payment packages as well. Plan A, I'll come in, do your 45-minute assembly. It's going to cost you $800 to $1,000. I'll do it on whatever day you want. I'll do it whatever time you want. I'll give whatever message you're asking me to do, and this is my fee. But I have plan B as well, where I'll pay you $1,000 or more to come and perform at your school.
Well, I'll take that.
And I say, which one do you want to hear about first?
I want to hear about the one you pay me.
That's where we pay you. Okay, John, Mr. Principal Abrams, this is how I could pay you. Again, you're asking me if I can come to perform at your school the first week of October, and you're willing to pay me $800. I'm asking you if I could do this 2 weeks later, which is the same time I'm doing a community event with the firefighters, by the way, which helps all of us. And we're also going to involve the food bank. And I also know that many of your families would benefit from the food bank, just saying. What if I could come in 2 weeks later and do a free assembly show, talk about dreams, goals, believe in yourself. And all I ask at the end of the performance, you pass home a flyer that will benefit the food bank, the firefighters, the Boys and Girls Club that we all depend on. And if we can do it that way, or do it another way where we come in and say, plan A, you just pay me, or plan B, I'll come in and do the assembly for free, but 3 days later, we'll do an evening performance at nighttime, and we'll open that up to the community and all your families, and we'll have an $8 or $10 ticket price. We'll split that 50-50. And by the way, why doesn't your parent council, how about you look after all the canteen, you can sell popcorn and all that kind of stuff, and you keep 100% of that money too. Yeah. And what I will do when I'm in town, just because I'm coming 3 hours to do your show anyways, what if I just went and did something for the Boys and Girls Club and maybe another great cause, and I'll just donate that while I'm here. And I'll just get that part. I'll just get all that sponsored. You're like, fine. So they would take the money that they would have paid me as an entertainer. Now they don't got to pay me this $700 or $100 or $1,000. So why not take that money, do some other good things in the school? And then the money I pay you for coming here for the evening show, why not take that and do some great things in the school as well?
Oh, yeah.
Or just pay me plan A. And they always take plan B, always, right?
Now, have you found any objections with schools not wanting sponsorships because they can't use any particular names? For example, people have taken Coke machines out because they don't want the word Coke in their school. Have you found any objections like that?
Here's the thing, okay? First of all, always feel free to take plan A, right? Just pay me. So that's always an option. But here's the thing. When I go there during the day to do the free assembly show, because I'm performing in school time, I do not mention the sponsors by name. The flyer that goes home inviting them to the evening attendance, which is optional whether they attend or not. So they are making a decision to buy a ticket to attend that community event, which is highly sponsored. That's where I thank my sponsors. Because of these 3 or 4 sponsors and champions, I was able to go into these elementary schools for free to inspire them while I was here. Maybe we discounted our ticket price for those who brought food on, which we were able to donate back to the food bank. And this all happened because of our community champions. So there's a very fine line there. And here's the thing, John, as you just alluded to, schools are a federally protected audience. You're not allowed to promote in schools. Yet if you're Domino's or you're a realtor, I can walk you right in that front door. In fact, I just used this recently. I also own a brick and mortar sandwich shop. I know last year we went in and donated 4 elementary schools sponsored by my sub shop. Took the teachers a platter full of subs, did a killer half-hour assembly program. I didn't even mention that was sponsored by my sub shop, but I generated over $100,000 in school orders for my sub shop. So I was the entertainer and I was the sponsor too.
So what's the sequence of events when you're thinking about going into a school? A school is my market. That's the reason that I ask this. Schools, libraries, that type of thing. Who are you talking to, or how do you get a hold of the person to talk to?
That is a very good question. See, I am not one to send out 10,000 packages hoping for the phone to ring. And I've been in 8,000 schools, so I see a lot where I see the filing cabinets full of all the packages that the entertainers have sent. Some days when I'm in a school office, the mail will come and there is 74 packages from every juggler, magician, comedian within 1,000 miles of that school. And they get these packages daily, by the way.
And it's true. I've seen the exact same thing.
And what happens is many times these packages go unopened. Here you are, you send your package out and you're waiting for the phone to ring and it doesn't ring because it hasn't been opened. So you send up a follow-up package with some other goodies in there and that goes in the same drawer as the other one. So let's say I'm coming to, Winnipeg and I want to do something in Winnipeg. So I would just look and see who in Winnipeg needs help. Sometimes I'll pick up a daily paper, or I could even go down to a local coffee shop and say, do you know any groups in town looking for some help? And they would say, the firefighters are looking to raise money for the Jaws of Life. I said, wow, what a great cause. So I'll go down, talk to the fire department and say, I'm in town. I'm looking to do some good here. I'm kind of like the secret millionaire. I'm an entertainer. I just travel the world helping people get what they want, need, desire, deserve. And I hear through the grapevine that you're looking to raise money for Jaws of Life. I'd like to help. I would say, look, I'm looking to do a community cross promotion that would involve the local schools, and I'd like to help a local group. So if I was going to help your local group, your firefighters, who would I talk to about a possible cross promotion? Oh, that would be the entertainment commander. That would be the chief. So I would meet with the chief or whoever they said, okay, Bruce, now I'm going to involve 3 or 4 local elementary schools. Just by chance, are you connected with any of the elementary schools? Do you know of any of the local elementary schools here? And you would say, well, my son goes to ABC Elementary over here. Awesome. Yeah. Who's the principal there? Well, that's Mike Smith. So I would walk into the office. Hey, you don't know me. I don't know you. I was just talking to Bruce, chief of police, chief of firefighters. And I guess he knows your principal quite well. They went to school together, doing a little community cross promotion that's going to involve the food bank, the firefighters, and some local schools. And he highly recommended I talk to Mr. Smith first. Boom. I walk in and they book it right then and there.
And now you're talking to Mr. Smith. And Mr. Smith, the principal, may direct you or have a meeting with you and the PTA president.
Exactly. A lot of times it would just say, look, normally we meet on Thursdays, but hey, I'll just call them out of class, or can you come back at lunchtime? And again, I'm only looking to serve 3 or 4 schools, and I simply go on a first come, first serve basis on everything I do. See, in sponsorships, most people gravitate towards the Fortune 500 companies, where through the traditional sponsorship process, and they go out and they meet with these big companies, and they're asking for tens of thousands of dollars in sponsorships. And what happens is a whole year go by and you haven't even heard back yet. And in a year's time, many of the people that you were talking to has moved on to different departments, and it just never leads anywhere. Whereas I use what I call the micro sponsorships. I'm out looking for mom and pop local businesses that can easily decide to invest $250 to $5,000 in a very unique community cross promotion where their business will win if they're serving the community at the same time. That's it. So for me, in each community, I get $2,500 to $4,000 in sponsorships for every event over and above what my clients pay me.
So you're charging for the fee, your fee, plus the sponsorship money.
I get all the sponsorship money. Yes. But at the same token, I'm going to bring you way more value than if you ever hired me, and I'm going to benefit the community while I'm here.
Right. So it's a win. Like you said, it's a win-win-win.
And again, feel free to say no, right?
Now, all these examples you're giving, you're contacting them in person. Is it always in person, or is there some phone work, or how does that work?
Well, John, first of all, nothing ever replaces face-to-face. So face-to-face is always best. But the good news is, because of the recent technology advances, you and I could talk face-to-face 3,000 miles apart through Zoom or through Skype. So first of all, it would be very easy to do face-to-face. Now, I don't have to fly to California to meet you. The second thing is you could combine an email or a phone, but I always like to use video. A lot of times where I would make either a call or an email, say, hey, John, you've never met me. I've never met you. I'm looking to do this in the community. I was hoping to meet with you in person, but since we are 1,000 miles apart, if I were to take 8 or 10 minutes, if I was to put together a little proposal on video and just send it to you, kind of what I had in mind, would you take 8 or 10 minutes to kind of check out what I'm proposing here?
I'd be much more likely to watch it on video.
Sure you would. Yep. And again, and I would say, if this is for you, we'll talk more. And if not, no harm done.
Great.
But I was looking for one pizza shop to partner with, and I want to give you the first opportunity. I'm looking for one realtor to partner with me. I want to give you the first opportunity. Since I was referred to you, or since I'm connected to you in some way, then I want to give you the first dibs at that.
Oh, perfect.
See, I recommend for most folks listening to this to get started on an easy basis. Start off in your home community. Go down and talk to the folks at the food bank. See if they could use some extra food. They're going to say yes. Go to the Legion Hall, to the, I think here we call them Legions. I think you call them Veterans Halls, right? In the United States, and say, hey, so you have a venue here. What if we were to do a show? Let's split 50-50 on this. And how about I go to some local elementary schools, I'll do some shows. And what if we gave some tickets to the veterans at no charge? And what if I gave you the canteen as well? And we'll promote the good work that the Veteran Hall does in the community. They're like, sure, let's do that.
Yeah.
And then simply go out and talk to businesses that you already know. Who already knows you, likes you, and trusts you. You have friends that are realtors. You have friends who's a mortgage agent. I bet you know someone who handles insurance.
Yeah, I do. I have relationships with a number of businesses.
A mechanic, a pizza shop, where I buy groceries, where I get my hair cut.
Before you approach these folks, are you sitting home making kind of an idea, kind of a plan, kind of a loose plan? So when you go in, you're ready, you have all these different offers, or are you winging it? You starting with the food bank, for example, and just moving on? Well,
I don't really have packages. I used to have packages. What I try to do is I make it a mission to give whoever I'm partnering with. I want to give you 2 to 10 times what I'm getting from you. And I kind of let you set where you want to come in at. The guy at the video store, I said, you can pick whatever you want. And my goal is to give you 2 to 10 times what you give me.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say, and I'll give you a couple examples here. Let's say you're a realtor and you sponsor me for $1,000.
Yeah.
So you've given me $1,000. So if I gave you, hypothetically, 100 tickets at $10 each, which is $1,000, now that would be 1-to-1. You give me 1,000, I've given you 1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say I gave you a full page out of my program that's $500.
Okay.
Now that's worth $1,500 to you, and I've only taken 1,000 from you. Now, let's say I went down to the radio station and I worked out a cross promotion with the radio station where they were going to give me $5,000 in airtime, and in exchange, I was going to involve the morning DJ host in my show somehow. Just say, okay? So now I come back to the realtor and say, John, guess what? Not only am I going to give you that $1,000 in tickets, not only am I going to give you that $500 ad in the program, I'm going to mention you on all $5,000 of that airtime. I'm going to mention your name on all 5,000 of those commercials sponsored by you, the realtor. So let's do the math. Now you got 5,000 in airtime. Now you got $1,000 in tickets, and now you have a $500 ad in the program.
Yeah.
Now, John, let me ask you another question, Mr. Realtor. What if I could make you magically appear during the performance? And as you magically appeared, I shake your hand and say, because of you, I was able to go to schools at no charge to inspire these children. Because of you, I was able to dramatically lower my ticket price for those who brought a food item, all thanks to you. We wouldn't even put a value on that one because that's probably worth a lot.
Yeah.
And what if I said, what if I put an apron around you and I asked you to collect all the food as people come in, so now they see you serving the community? We won't even put a value on all of that, okay? And by the way, I'm only involving one realtor in this. Whatever you do, whatever you come in at, I will put together a unique custom package for you that will give you 2 to 10 times what you're giving me. See, I just had a conversation with Mark Irish a few months back, and Mark was one of the original students I worked with. He had an upcoming meeting, and he messaged me just before he went into the meeting, and I had a little quick Zoom session with him where he was going into a meeting, and he felt pretty confident that he was going to ask for $2,500 in sponsorship. And up until this point, he did quite a few $1,000 ones and $1,500 ones. But this particular candidate, he was going to ask for $2,500. And I said, Mark, instead of asking for $2,500, just say, look, I'll give you 2 to 10 times what you give me in value. And this is real deal value that you can measure. And let them pick the number. So he goes to this meeting and he messaged me back, and about 2 hours later, he said, I don't take selfies. I don't take selfies. But here I am with a $10,000 sponsorship check. He said, the thing is, I would have went in, I would have asked for $2,500. He would have gave it to me. He would have been happy. I would have been happy. And I would have even known that A, I just cost myself $7,500, and B, I would have robbed him of the opportunity to serve him the way I really could serve him now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they both would have lost, and the community would have lost as well.
10,000 here, and 2 to 10 times 10,000 is a lot.
One of the best ways to find out what to give them is to ask them, what is it you want? Because by going in with predetermined packages, I'm already prejudging what you want. Okay, because I'm already got my mind made up what you should have. Yeah, I might have some suggestions, but every business owner is different. In fact, Dean Hankey is my mentor who has helped me tremendously through this whole process. I would have never been able to do any of this without him. It's had the same experiences I've had in this, where we've also had some. And by the way, when we talk about our sponsors, we like to call them like champions rather than sponsors. We call them like community champions or community heroes. Okay. So, and again, it's just a terminology, right? For the prejudging and all that. So when we work with our community champions, we ask them, what is it that we want to make sure that everybody in this cross promotion, this unique community cross promotion, is exactly what they want. So what is it that you want? What is it that you want for your business? What do you need? What do you want? What are your concerns? What are your challenges, right? We've had many sponsors come on at 5 or 10,000 or higher numbers who says, we are the electric company. We don't want any advertising whatsoever, because if I write you a check for $5,000, even though you're doing great community work and this is money well spent, if we put that the hydro department just sponsored this, we're going to get 10,000 calls saying, what the heck? No wonder my rates are going up every month, because here you are writing checks for a magic show of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So they might want to be helped in other ways, saying, they might come to you and say, what do you want? They're saying, well, one, we certainly don't want you to put our logo on your poster. We certainly don't want you to say that we wrote you a check for $5,000. But, we support the Boys and Girls Club. We support the firefighters. This is our charity of choice. If you could benefit them somehow that way, or if you could just do great things. Like, they don't mind, like, all their boards know, but they don't want it publicly known that they were involved for their own reasons. Right?
You would never have known that if you didn't ask.
If I prejudge, yes. So I find that with businesses, usually there are two types of businesses that I see. One type of business is a business that is relatively new, or they're eager to gain new clients. They want recognition. They want people to know that they're there. So a lot of times, for example, we're able to help local businesses by creating traffic for them. For example, let's say you're a retail shop of some sort, where, hey, tickets are $15 each, but you can pick them up for $10 down at John's Flower Shop. Mm-hmm. So we can drive traffic that way, or give them some incentive, right? So we try to give them what they want. We've also had other businesses who say, we've been here for 40 years. We don't need any advertising of any kind, because everybody knows we're here. Okay. So I'm looking at them. Okay, how do you thank your regulars? How do you thank your employees? How do you give back to the community? Well, here's a way where we could partner together on behalf of your business. We can make a major difference at the schools, where they're going to go in and inspire the heck out of all those students for free. It's not going to cost the school a penny. We're going to have the food bank. We're going to help this cause and this cause. And we're going to present it that your business is doing this to give back. And then what we would do, for example, at the end of the performance, hey, folks, we had a great time here tonight performing here for the firefighters here in Anaheim Hills. What a great experience this was. Hey, I'm going over to, I love pizza. I love Domino's. Me and the crew, we're just going to change up our clothes here, and we're going to walk right over to the corner at Domino's. Why don't you folks come on over with us? Maybe we'll do a really cool illusion right in Domino's and sign some autographs. Okay. One of the tips that I just give Mark Irish, and I'm glad he used it right away, was he was doing a show, and he was doing a mentalist routine where there's some prediction need to be revealed. And just as he was near that point, opens the back door, and in comes a Domino's or the pizza guy. And he walks into the center hall like, who ordered pizza? And Mark's like, I'm in front of an audience here. We're doing a show. So he walks over and he says, well, I've been asked to bring this pizza, and I had to have it here precisely at this time, and here I am. And they open up the lid of the pizza box, and there's the prediction inside the pizza box.
Yeah.
And say, well, I'm so glad that Domino's could help us with this trick, because Domino's does have the best pizza.
There's your commercial.
Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, by the way, we are here tonight to help as many different causes as we can. So Domino's has brought 2 or 3 pizzas with them. And the next 5 or 8 minutes, we're going to auction this pizza off piece by piece, slice by slice. And if you are the highest bidder, you get this one slice of pizza. And just so you know, 100%, as in 100% of all money raised over the next 12 minutes on that pizza, we're going to donate to the local firefighters here for their jaws of life or whatever they're doing.
Do you remember how much the slices of pizza went for?
Some of them went for up to $100. I've had my own personal show where people have paid $100 for a slice of pizza because their home was saved by firefighters. Their uncle was a firefighter. Their father just passed was a firefighter, and they want to support that cause.
Right. Yeah. They're not buying the pizza. They're buying the experience.
But Domino's would pay $500 to $1,000 to make that happen during a live performance.
Oh, I'm sure.
everybody wins. Those
Yeah.
are the type of things that we're talking about, giving value in a way that they've never had before. We're not asking for a donation. We're talking about a win-win community cross-promotion where we all win.
How can my listeners get free coaching from you? Can they get free coaching from you?
John, I have a confession. I have a big vision in all of this, okay? And working with Dean Hankey, my mentor, and we've been meeting twice a week for a couple of years now. We have a big vision here.
Great guy, by the way, and very, very smart.
Oh my God. And I've only been on Facebook for 3 or 4 years, and he was one of the first people I ever met on Facebook. And I actually approached him to see if he would partner with me in a win-win community, win-win promotion I was doing. I interviewed him, and we have become best of friends. And Dean has raised tens of millions of dollars for nonprofit groups. We've had quite the conversation. It's almost like we're twin brothers and 3,000 miles apart. We've never met. But what we hope to do is this. My whole goal is this. I've been able to take my little stuttering self and raise about $5 million for charity by partnering with sponsors and making good things happen in the community. This has allowed me to have complete freedom because each month I get to pick and choose the dates that I want to spend with my family. Oh, I'm going to have a friend here. We're going for a barbecue over here. And there's a little baptism over here. And my grandmother's birthday's over here. So we pick all the dates. This is for our family. Now, what days do I want to work this month? Well, I think I'd like to do 4 or 5 events. Awesome. What dates do I want to perform them? So I pick the dates that I want to perform them. What communities do I want to perform them in? These are the communities and these are the dates. And that's it. And here's why it works so well. Let's say I contacted you in Anaheim Hills and you're the firefighters. And I say, John, Captain John, I understand you're looking to raise money for new uniforms for the firefighters.
Yes.
And I'd like to help you to raise a couple $1,000s. I don't need any effort from you. I'm going to do all the heavy lifting, but I'm coming through town and I help groups and organizations all over the world raise free and easy money. And I heard you're raising money for this cause. And I'd like to help you to raise several hundreds to several thousands of dollars with no risk to you whatsoever. But the sad news is I can only help you on the second weekend in October. What are you going to say?
I'm in.
See you the second week of October.
Yeah.
You're not going to say, hey, oh, crap, we want free and easy money, but we don't want it then.
We need it by October 7th. We can't wait till October 14th.
99% of the time, they're like, whatever works for you. It's free and easy money for us.
Yeah.
We want to be part of this, and you pick the dates. So what we are hoping to do is I raise about I say $5 million I've raised on my own self for nonprofit groups. I think Dean has raised probably over $10 million for nonprofit groups doing what he has done. So together, it's taken us 80 plus years to raise $15 million. But by sharing some of these concepts that we have with other entertainers, I am now able to do something I was never able to do before. For example, right now, as we speak, Tim Fox is out inspiring children with his strongman shows in Nashville.
Yay.
And yet he's doing that because I helped him to get sponsors to help make that possible. So here I am in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, and I'm helping children in Nashville to be inspired by helping Tim Fox to do what he does. Brian Glow is way up half hour from the North Pole as we speak. He's been up in the Arctic for the last 5 years. He comes down for a week. He goes back up for a month. They have 11 times the national suicide rate up there on young people. So Brian Glow and I had a chat one day. Brian had a close friend commit suicide. It really impacted Brian. And Brian wanted to use his skills as a magician to really inspire the youth that there are other alternatives other than suicide, that there's worth living for, and there's someone that cares about them. So again, he wanted to go way up in there. He's only allowed to take a briefcase full of equipment. The airfare is like tens of thousands of dollars. And I was able to help Brian get that sponsored. So here I am in Niagara Falls, and I am inspiring youth in the Arctic by helping Brian Glow. In the last couple of years, a lot of very well-known magicians have passed on. And as I'm approaching a month from being 60 years of age, my father has already passed from brain cancer. And I'm wondering what kind of legacy can I leave behind? And I wanted to create a program where I could help entertainers and presenters and authors and speakers who have a positive message, who really want to benefit the community. I want to help them to go do so in spades, so A, they can better their families, and B, they can really make an impact on their community. So that, if I were to help you in Anaheim Hills, and if I was to help Brian Glow in Winnipeg, and, Dean Hankey in Reno. So what our goal was to put about 50 to 100 entertainers in place, where we would teach them how to get free venues. We would teach them how to fill those seats full of people. We would show them how to get their events sponsored. Mm-hmm. And what would happen is we would reach out to, Dean and I would start reaching out to national organizations or international organizations. And let's say it was Boys and Girls Club. And we contacted head of the Boys and Girls Club and say, something, we really believe in what we're doing. We have a little secret group of entertainers. There's about 100 of us. We kind of meet weekly, monthly. And we challenge each other to go out and do good things in their community. We encourage each other. We challenge each other. We support each other to go out into the community and do great work in the community. And on November 15th, for example, I will send out an email to 100 entertainers, and all at the same time, they will initialize a win-win community cross-promotion in that community that will benefit that cause. Mm. So John, you might be doing you're doing a magic show in Anaheim. Yep. CJ Johnson, I loved his interview, by the way, with his game shows, right?
That was a good interview, wasn't it?
That's right. So maybe he's in Liberty Hills, Texas, doing his Go Game shows. Mm-hmm. But they would all go out and do a fundraising event, all for that same cause, all at the same time. They would go get a free venue. They would go get it all sponsored, and Entertainer would prosper in that community, and so would the nonprofit group. So now you can go to these organizations and say, last month, my 50 or 100 entertainer friends, we raised $350,000 for this cause. The month before, we did $290,000 for this cause. The month before, we did $74,000 for this cause.
Yeah.
What's that worth to be part of this? To go in and have that kind of credibility where you are a member of an organization that does miraculous things in the world, right? Mm-hmm. There's no more selling shows. The problem now is we can't initiate this, because if I said, okay, John, go ahead and create this, you'd be like, wow, how do I get a free venue? How do I do this? How do I do that? And we certainly couldn't go out on a national basis saying we have these 100 entertainers, and they would go out and fall on their face, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to create a program where we could help these 50 to 100 entertainers to get to that point where we could do these worldwide events. That's kind of the end goal here. We've been working 3 or 4 years towards that goal.
Sure.
So here's what I offer. I have a simple web page. It's called KISS Sponsorships with an S, kisssponsorships.com. Mm-hmm. And it's KISS. Keep it super simple.
Yep.
Sponsorships, again, so that you can keep it super simple, so you can keep it super successful. And what I recommend is there's an interview I did with Dean Hankey on there, a little webinar. We talk a little bit more about how we do all of this. I recommend go to kisssponsorships.com and watch that webinar. There's also a couple testimonials of people that I've worked with. And if any of this makes sense, I'd love to have a little simple conversation with you, about a half hour, about who you are, what you do, and how you think sponsorships might benefit you. Give you a couple quick strategies you can go out and use right away. From that point, if you want me to help you to implement this, we can talk about what that might look like.
Perfect.
My main passion is to helping entertainers, and I would love to have a short conversation with any entertainer, give you a free session. And again, I'm not here to sell you on my coaching in any way possible way. This may not be for you.
If we are interested, we can help you reach that goal, and we can reach goals ourselves, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
My goal is to help as many people as I can while I'm still here on planet Earth. I really want this to go on after me, where entertainers can go out and continue to serve those who really need us.
So if someone wants to join your team, or actually join your goal, they just go to kisssponsorships.com.
Yep. kisssponsorships.com. Watch the webinar, give you some free training there. If you want to talk to me, you just simply, it's right on the webpage, just email me at claudehaggerty@gmail.com. We'll set up a time. We'll chat. Again, with no pressure. This might not be for you. I'd like to find out who you are, what you do, kind of what your goals are, see if I can give you a couple quick start strategies you can use right away. And I don't want anything for that. If you want my help after that, well, then we can talk about what that might look like.
Yeah, that's a great offer.
John, I listened to your, I just learned about your podcast.
Yes.
I was able to, I listened to CJ's Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm going back through some of the other ones. A remarkable thing you're doing here, you have rave reviews, and I can see why. And John, this platform is going to help entertainers all over the world, and I'm honored to be invited to come and share with you folks here today.
Well, see, you're part of my goal too. My goal is to do exactly what you're talking about. Share people's stories that inspire other entertainers and educate and inspire them to do their thing.
Exactly.
We have similar goals, just go about it different ways.
And the thing is, as entertainers, we need all of this. We need to learn from, and I think entertainers are the worst for this, by the way, where many entertainers are embarrassed to ask for help. They think it's a sign of weakness. To me, it's a sign of strength. I reach out to my friends all the time for help. I have friends who are graphic artists, friends who are website people, friends who do different things that they do it way better than I do. So I go to them and saying, how can I help you? And how can you help me in a win-win promotion here? Learn everything you can from everybody. We can all help each other. And I think what happens is we raise the standards of our entire industry when we do so.
Yep. One of the things that I've learned throughout the process of doing this podcast is the most successful people have entertainment coaches. They have help all around them. They surround themselves with people that can help them, because let's face it, we don't know everything. I don't know everything. You've just filled us in an hour worth of information that I didn't know about. I have all sorts of interviews here with people that have all sorts of information that I never knew before. So by opening ourselves up and accepting that coaching or that teaching, it really makes us more successful.
Just to finish up here, none of this information will make you wealthy. It's implementing this information that will make the difference.
Yep. Perfect. I'll let you go on that, Claude. I appreciate all the info you gave, man. It was great. And I love the gorilla story. Great story.
We got to talk again sometime, John.
We will talk very soon, my friend. Thank you so much for helping us out here.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity.
If you want to be a part of Claude's team, just go to kisssponsorships.com. And if you like this podcast, click the review button and give us 5 stars. And if you have a minute, leave a nice review. It helps a lot. And thanks for listening. If you found this podcast valuable, tell a friend to listen and share away. You can reach me from my Facebook page. I'm John Abrams, the guy with the hedgehog on his profile picture. Just shoot me out a message. While you're there, join my Facebook group at The Variety Artist, where you can ask me to ask questions of our guests. Now go out and book those gigs, make some money, and have some fun.
That's all for this episode of The Variety Artist, but your journey continues on our website. Go to thevarietyartist.com for more strategies, insight, and resources, as well as show notes on today's guest to assist you in your career. We'll see you on the next episode of The Variety Artist. But until then, go out and book those gigs, make some money, and have some fun.